Yeah, we got a little bit of good news, I guess. A little bit of good news. And going to be talking about this later too. Welcome to the superpilotish channel. My name is Graham Wilson, and today in my basement, I'll be reporting on, because I'm a tech and education journalist today, I'll be reporting on, you'll see something that's going on in Oklahoma, and I'll give you an update on my little Bitcoin miner over here. So I might sound a little funny today. I'm still trying to fight this little cold. It's weird. My nose is just a bit runny, and I don't know. That's life, right? So what I've been doing on my show here is trying to start off with some good news. And like I was saying the last time I was on the show, do you know how hard it is to find good news? Okay, so I figured out on my random state generator, it picked Oklahoma for me today, and I looked up on a map. Here's this little town called Enid, Oklahoma, and it was like, man, okay, let's see what's going on in Enid, Oklahoma. So then I asked AI, hey, what's the local newspaper? And it said, okay, what was it called? The Enid News and Eagle, which apparently you gotta like pay to check out the articles and stuff. But there wasn't a lot of good news in Enid other than they're winterizing the park, so pipes don't freeze and stuff. But there's porta johns or porta potties available or something like that. So, not really the greatest news, but there was something in there about how I thought it was for Enid, but it's actually for Warner, Oklahoma. But the headline was District sees test scores climb with cell phone ban. I was like, well, that's pretty good. Test scores are going up. Kids are paying attention, getting smarter, I hope. And okay, so I figured that's the news. So, in Warner, Oklahoma, not actually Enid, but I got it from the newspaper. So it was kind of talking about Warner High School here. And so I'll just kind of read part of the article there, which was by Jennifer Palmer. And I tried to look at Jennifer Palmer's Twitter X feed, and it's like she doesn't do a whole lot there. So I don't know. I might not even send this to her. But, anyways, while schools everywhere struggle to wrest students' attention away from smartphones, Warner Public Schools has held steadfast to its total bell to bell ban since 2013. The year before the ban, Warner's student test scores were average. Both the elementary and high school received a C on the state school report card, and all of the required state tests, half were at above the state average. And all of the required state tests, half. Maybe not the greatest writing there. That didn't make sense to me. Okay, in 2013, the district hired David Vinson as the superintendent, and this dude he banned some cell phones. The next year, Warner Elementary School earned B minus, and the high school got an A on 90% of the state tests. Warner students scored above the state average, according to data provided by the district. So it's kind of weird. They're like reporting on this stuff that's like 10 years old. And then this year, the district expects to notch 2 A's on the school report cards for the fourth year in a row, and they're above the state average on every test. So, it's kind of weird when you look at the media and you go like, I don't think, maybe my cold is affecting my head, but that sentence didn't make sense. And they're talking about stuff from 10 years ago. A lot can change in 10 years. Demographics, income, curriculum, how much are the teachers like teaching to get higher marks on the test. And it's only a little 800 student. There's only 800 students in the district, so kind of, but that's the reporting you get in rural Oklahoma, I guess. But anyways, but it's still good news. They say they're going to get some A's this year. Okay, there's your news for you. Good news, good news. We're all getting smarter here, right? Okay, enough of that. I don't know. I still got to figure out what kind of news I want to report here that's good. I was thinking airplane news and stuff because this is a sort of the super pilotish channel, and maybe I should be a little bit more aviation centric. But it's kind of like, hey, what kind of news do you want to report there? They never put in the newspaper that, like, hey, today millions of airplanes landed safely. Like that, you don't hear about that. Um, hundreds of student pilots got their pilot's license today. Yeah, you don't do that. But oh boy, oh boy. Okay, so that's it for the news. Now let's get to update on my miner. So this little guy here, I still think he's pretty cool. Rah, rah. But we won't report on him today. So yeah, I got my miner up and running over here. Okay, let's see if I got this here. So yeah, you can see there's like some little lights kind of flashing on top. The fan is still buzzing along very, very quietly. You can't even hear that. And yeah, and the only thing hooked up to it is just this little power cable. So yeah, so I'll kind of tell you how it went yesterday. Yeah, so this is telling some information on there about like how fast it's going. So what is it saying there? It's pretty small. All right, how many gigahashes per second am I doing here? It's got to flip back to the next page. Okay, 864. So this thing here is it's guessing a whole bunch of equation answers, 864,000 per second. So I thought it would be a little bit higher, but there's some complicated stuff that I kind of ran into when I was setting that thing up to maybe get a Bitcoin. But yeah, so I started off. It's I thought it would be nice and easy, like anything with computers. I was pretty smart to start off with. Anytime you're doing anything with a computer, say I'm working on this computer here, you got to have a backup computer with a good internet so you can check out, hey, this thing didn't work. And then it's like, okay, check out a YouTube video, check out a Reddit forum, Google search, AI, whatever you want to check out. And so that's what I did yesterday when I set that up. I thought, oh, this should be pretty easy. I saw a little tutorial on that once in person, and I glanced at a couple of YouTube videos. And of course, I go to set it up, and any of the YouTube videos I'm looking at, it doesn't look at all like what my screen looks like. It's got the same information, but the font's kind of different. The layout's different. I was like, So it's anytime you're dealing with computer stuff, you got your backup computer, one for working on and one for researching. Did that, and I had my cell phone with me too. Oh, hey, DH Pilot One, welcome. Just talking about my my little Bitcoin miner here that I bought and I set up. So yeah, so this thing here, I'm thinking like, how does this little guy, I'll just put it over here. Yeah, how does that thing even connect to the internet and stuff? So everything's all wireless with that. And so it's funny that I've never seen this before where you plug the thing in and it just kind of boots up. So that's actually a little computer. It's a little it's got its own little operating system, a customized operating system called Axe OS. And it's designed, the operating system is just to do kind of one function here. And yeah, so you fire up your computer, you fire that thing up, and then you check in your Wi-Fi. And so this has like a little mini specialized Wi-Fi hotspot in it. So you can't actually use that. If you got a Wi-Fi hotspot on your phone, people can hook up to it, and then you can check out the internet. That Wi-Fi is hooked up just to talk to that one machine. No cables needed. That's kind of cool. And then so you hook up to that. Then on your computer screen, it pops up. Here we go. Here's like all the information about that. So it's kind of cool. And then you hook that up to the internet. You have to tell them. So right now that is going through my Wi-Fi in my house, and you have to use this other operating system to hook up to that. Now that's hooked up to something. And then if you want to, this was a tricky thing I didn't know about. And it wasn't really mentioned on too many YouTube tutorials, but anyone's interested in having that, treating that as a lottery ticket. So you have like a 1 in bazillion chance of mining some Bitcoin because it's not that strong. Okay, so what I didn't know is that, and I had to figure out I don't know, an hour of research figuring this out yesterday, was that this has to hook up to a group of other little guys like that to get enough power to actually go out on the main network. We'll put it that way. So if you're going to be setting this up, it gets kind of complicated. But let's just say you want this to be your little lottery ticket, and you're hooking it all up, and no one ever tells you this is what you got to do. I'm just going to write down. Because I can read on that. It's pretty small, but it says that it's like I'm kind of hooked up to this one website, and everyone else is hooking their little things into that website, and we're all working together to try to find a Bitcoin. So here we go. It's called public-pool.io. Okay, so that's where you want to hook up. So public-pool.io. Do that, and then there's a certain port number you got to put in there too. I don't think it's on there, but actually, you know what? I can pull that up right here on my computer. I'll tell you. There's this other funny little thing, and this is another thing. I don't know anything about like networks or any of that other stuff. Oh, here we go. Stratum port. Okay, hang tight here. This is for all the people. This might save someone a little bit of time here. And then it's 21496. Okay, here we go. So this is getting pretty techy here, but I am the tech and education journalist today. So if you're going to hook this up to be like your little Bitcoin lottery ticket, this is this is where you got to hook it up for. What do they call that? There's a little field called Stratum URL. So that's your Stratum URL. Your Stratum port is this number here, 21496. You'll enter that number in a field and this number in a field, and then this thing will just hook up and start doing its thing. And you have to give it a address from your. Where's my phone over here? So I got my little Bitcoin wallet on my phone. I took an address from there, gave it to this guy here. So if I ever get if that thing ever, chances are 1 in a million that I get a Bitcoin or something, it'll show up in my wallet on my phone. So, and the way that you can trust this thing here, publicpool.io, once you get into Bitcoin stuff, there's like all these like organizations and things, and you can get little mini paybacks instead of one big lump. And so that one there, that is an open source. It's an open source protocol where it's like, so anything open source you can trust. So that just means that it's licensed so that anybody can look at all the code. No one can sneak in any little secret code there to steal your stuff. It's all open, as they say, so you can kind of take a look at it. And it's not worth your while to fool around with that stuff because it just won't work if you mess around with it. Or anyways, yeah, people a lot smarter than me can go through and look at the code and say, wait a minute, you want to change this? No, that's going to make it so people can rip you off. So open source is the way to go for everything when you're dealing with money, Bitcoin, stuff like that. Don't trust anything else that's not open source because you never know what you can put in there. Kind of like voting machines. Hey, can I look at your voting machine source code? No. Okay, well, it looks like you can cheat. I won't know. But if it was open source, you could. So, okay, so there we go. I try not to get into politics, but the election system is important. And the future of money is important too. Look at that. I might get rich off that, or it'll probably just end up in the landfill in another 5 years or something like that. But you got to think positive. So I will get lucky with my little lottery ticket here. And it also, these little guys are designed, it's for a few reasons. Like if you have a lot of these little guys going around the world, all teaming up together, that makes like a, if somebody wants to attack the system, they got to attack everyone all the way around the world in all the different countries and stuff. It's harder to do. They call that decentralized. If it's one spot, one main computer, I don't know, someone pulls the plug on that, you lose all your money. So this one here, it spreads it out over the whole world. And so it decentralizes the whole system. And it's also good for just basically it's designed as an education tool for kids to figure out how this stuff works out, or tech and education journalists to figure out how this stuff works out. Because you always find that if you end up doing something, you're always going to learn something. Like, say you're going to learn how to fly a plane. You can like watch videos and maybe have a simulator, but you really don't know that how an airplane actually works until you go and start messing around with one. Same with like a Bitcoin miner or like just even messing around on your computer. You can know all this stuff, but until you actually get your hands on it, you don't know how it works in the real world. So it's good for decentralization, education, and I'll get filthy rich if I grab some Bitcoin. I don't know. We'll see. I forget. I didn't do a very good job of that. This one guy, this Jamie Robinson, I saw this. He did a tutorial on that, or like a workshop on that when I was down in El Salvador. And he said the three things, and I only remembered the two of them. So I think that was it: decentralize, educate, and two are pretty good. Okay. Yeah. So just like a little update there today. My nose is kind of stuffed up, and I didn't have too much to talk about today. And my news from Oklahoma wasn't all that great. So it's like you get some good shows, you get some bad ones. But luckily DH Pilot 1 came in here, so that's excellent that I can answer some questions. And that's another thing about the show. If you're watching this, maybe not live, but later, anytime you do catch me live, I'll answer questions about anything because I'm like an expert journalist on like everything now. So I was thinking about that the other day. It's like, what's the difference between me and a journalist, or me and a newsreader, me and a newscaster? Getting the idea that, like, okay, let's just say somebody is a newscaster. Maybe I'm a newscaster, but what's the definition of that? Like, you're reading stuff. Like, okay, I was reading some stuff that I ripped off the internet. Like, that's what newscasters do. They rip it and read it. Oh, Associated Press says this. I'm going to say this to a camera. So I do that too. Just did it. So does that mean I'm a journalist now, or a newsreader, or a newscaster, broadcaster? Sort of. And the only thing is, well, do I do it for a job? Well, okay, so those guys get paid. Then, like, okay, at what pay level does it become? No, like me, I get zero. Maybe one day I might get some. But so can you still be an unpaid journalist, or do you have to do it for a job, or what's the definition of that? I'm just going to start calling myself a online something or other. I got to figure that way into the show. That aviation journalist, tech and education journalist, newscaster from my basement. Do you have to have a studio? I got a studio. It doesn't look like other ones, but so what? There's different set design, right? Anyways, that's just kind of stuff. I'm trying to figure out a new direction for my channel here as I go. Okay, so we're going to answer a question here from DH Pilot 1. Okay, is that little robot continuously searching Bitcoin for you? Is that what they mean by the term mining? Okay, and by the little robot, it's not this little guy. This is just something, a little plastic thing. It's like the mascot or something for this company called Bitaxe. I think that's what it is, but I don't know. I'll keep him here. He looks kind of cute for a little alien. Yeah, so this thing here, it's it's just a little tiny computer that's specifically designed to do calculations. Okay, so that's so is it continually searching Bitcoin? You can kind of think of it that way. So what it is I did this on my last show. I was kind of explaining it, where the whole thing about Bitcoin, the way that it's created. Okay, so Bitcoin is just like any other kind of digital money, I guess. Like, you got your bank card or your credit card. Like most of the money out there in the world, it's just like, okay, it's in the bank, but it doesn't exist as cash. So, like, let's just say I got this stuff here. I got some of this stuff. There we go. there's $20 there, but you don't have like stacks and stacks and stacks in the bank, and they don't truck it around from one bank to another. You're going to go pay your gas bill, and then the bank goes and puts this in a truck, a big stack of these, and drops it off at the gas company. So most of the money out there in the world is just digital. So it's just information. It's sitting on a computer, and somebody makes that, right? And how does that get made? Somebody makes it on a computer, and it's at the bank. And they say that somebody's got to be sitting there going, all right, you need some money for your mortgage? Okay, we'll put this money in your bank account. How much is it? $100,000. 100,000, enter. There we go. Just made you $100,000. Now you can go. You owe me that money at the bank, and there you go. We'll send that over to the guy, and you just bought his house. So that's how they make money at the bank. But so money is distributed by the banks and stuff like that. But the difference with Bitcoin is who makes and distributes this money. Well, anyone that wants to get one of these contributes to it. So the way the money is distributed with Bitcoin is that there's millions of these things all around the world. Or like maybe that's a really weak one. Some of them are gigantic with super chips and everything in there that can calculate faster than that one. So basically, what it is like if you want to get a Bitcoin, you got to solve a puzzle. It's a mathematical puzzle. So it might be something weird. So you remember you got, what do we got here? Let's do it. Let's go back to grade 9 math or something. Y equals, I don't know. Look at that. Look at that. Y equals 2x. Okay, solve for x. Okay, geez, how do we do this here? Something like, what do? You multiply both sides by a half. What's this? Y over 2 equals, I haven't done this in a while. 2 over 2. Oh boy, look at that. We got some math. I'm figuring this all out here. Okay, this cancels out. That comes into a 1. So what do we got here? X equals, we'll flip it around, 1/2 y. There we go. Okay, I solved for x there. Ding, ding, ding. I did all my crazy math. All right, now I earned a Bitcoin. So that's what it is. It's like there's like a really an equation that's way more complicated than that. Like insanely complicated. And it's the only way to figure it out is not to use like algebraic techniques like this, but you have to figure it out just by like raw brute force. Let's try this. Does it work? No. Let's try this. Does it work? No. So that's why this thing's figuring out about 1 trillion times per second. Did that work? No. Did that work? No. Did that work? No. And the thing is, it's like a monstrous equation that you got to solve. And then when someone finally solves it and they say, wait a minute, okay, that equals that, that equals that. Yeah, all right, we figured it out. And they send it out to everyone else and say, does this look good to you? All the other computers go, yep, looks good to me. Issue the Bitcoin. So that's how it is. It's basically a race to solve an incredibly huge equation. And once that's done, a new equation's made, and the race is on to solve another equation. So all this little guy does, it's a very specifically this robot guy here. It's designed to do one thing, basically. It's like, okay, solve this equation that's given. So right now it's chugging away with a bunch of other little ones together in my little mining pool, and they're trying to figure out what's the solution to this. And it's like a monstrous wicked equation, and I've seen what it is, and like I don't understand it because it's like such high level math, but it is math. So what do we got here? And I was thinking about that too, how hard it is to explain Bitcoin to people, because I don't really know it all myself, but it seems like the more you find out a little thing, there's another thing you find out, like, what's that? Then you kind of figure that one out. You're like, oh, what's that? So I was thinking that Bitcoin, the whole system, the Bitcoin ecosystem is kind of like a car, where you might be able to use your car, but you don't know everything that's going on in live time in your car, how it's made, how it's put together, how could you improve it. you just kind of hop in your car and use it. So when you're using your Bitcoin on your phone to buy stuff, beep, beep, it works. Hey, it looks cool. I got a little check mark. You got a check mark. Okay, the transfer went through. It works. So that's kind of like I'm I'm driving my car. Car got me to where I want to go. Cool. But now this gets into here. Oh, somebody here built an engine and I'm messing around with the engine. So or there could be, someone's an expert at doing that kind of stuff, but then there might be someone that's like, for your car, someone's an expert at doing engines, another person's good at making tires, other people are making the brakes, and someone's working at another place way over here, not even related to it, mining oil out of the ground. So it's a very complex system, this whole Bitcoin thing. So the best you can do is just kind of hop in your car and drive safely. So, hey, Phil's here too. What's Phil got to say? Bitcoin mining is like leaving your car idling 24/7 and it spits out solved Sudoku puzzles you used to you used to buy heroin. That's an interesting thing. I have no idea what you mean. But anyways, yeah, leaving your car idling, it spits out solved Sudoku puzzles. In a way, kind of. I don't know. I bet you it's Phil was doing a quote of this one here, so he didn't make it up himself. So we could Google search that and find out who the author is. It's very meta, but kind of. So, although I don't recommend you buying heroin with anything, but yeah. So, anyways, that's about it. Oh, Wrench popped in here too. I'll give him a little. Hey, Wrench. Yep. Any money yet? No, nothing. And chances are won't get any money, but it's just kind of like, you never know. Well, it's like if you have all these people that are like gambling addicts and they buy lottery tickets all the time. It's like, oh, you can't win if you don't play. So I don't really buy lottery tickets. I don't gamble and stuff, but this is kind of a cool gamble. And I kind of wanted to mess around with the tech. I'm not a real tech guy that wants to mess around with things and that, but I mean, if this, yeah, if it's the future of money, I'd kind of like to know, money's kind of important. If you have it, it's good. If you don't have it, your life gets difficult. So, and yeah, pretty much like a one-armed bandit here, Wrench. Except I think the odds on a one-armed bandit are a little bit better. But anyways, it looks cool. Part of it looking cool is cool too. All right, so we're gonna put I'll put my little alien back here too, and we got my little mascot. Maybe I should give this guy a name. I don't know what should. He probably has a name. I should Google search that. But anyways, that's my little show for today. All right, if I do get some Bitcoin, I'll let you know, and like I'll show it. Like, hey. But then wait a minute, how much would I have there? Because if I win the little chunk there, it would be 3.125 Bitcoins. So how much money would that be worth? What's that worth now? I think I got it on my computer here. Yeah, I don't know what it is in US dollars. 134,000 Canadian. So times 3, that's about yeah, so I could get I can win 400 grand Canadian, which would be what would that be in US? A little under 300,000 US. Yeah, that's cool. And then I can go, I don't know, do something with that money anyhow. What would I do? I don't know. But yeah, maybe get a new camera instead of having this weird fisheye camera, something like that. Okay. What do we got here? Oh, what do we got here? Okay, so just to get this straight, you find one coin and get the whole value. Yeah, so the way that works is, see, that's another thing where it gets complicated. So it's not like you get it finds hey, boom, you get one Bitcoin. It's actually you get a chunk of Bitcoin. So you actually get every 10 minutes or so they issue, or they have it set up that these things can find about every 10 minutes Right now, 3.125 Bitcoins. So if you win that little, they call it a block, but it's like, if you get that little chunk, you get 3.125, and that's the way that works. And that all changes too. Like it's kind of complicated, but yeah. And once you got that, then I'll have to figure out someone that wants to give me some cash for it, or I can go to El Salvador and spend it on some hotel or something. Okay. What's this here? Yes, a scratcher. You scratch every 10 minutes. Yep. Yeah. So that's what. And all this terminology around Bitcoin and stuff like that, you're like, what the heck? What's that mean? Google search, Google search, Google search, and oh, that's what it means. I don't understand it. YouTube video. So unless you can find someone to explain things, which I'll be happy to do. Explain if you guys have any questions about this stuff. Okay. Yeah, that's about it for today. Okay, what am I doing today? Today is Wednesday. Yeah, I think this afternoon. See, I usually DH Pilot 1 here gives me all of his leaves from my garden, but I was away this year, so DH Pilot 1 didn't give me any leaves from my garden, so I'm gonna have to go steal some from somewhere. I don't know. I got my eye on. There's this apartment building that if I went and raked up all their leaves, they probably wouldn't care. I'll just bring a tarp over there and I'll throw them in the back of my car and smuggle some leaves back in my garden. That's my plan. My exciting plans for the afternoon, and go and steal some leaves. But yeah, I've thought about taking them like just in front of people's houses, and they put them in bags and stuff, and maybe just go throw them in my car. But there's always going to be someone like, "Oh, you're stealing my garbage." Okay. Anyways, so I figure I'll just do someone a favor. Well, I figure it's like a nameless, faceless corporation that owns this apartment building, so they probably don't care about me raking their leaves. They'll probably be appreciative, or they won't even notice. I'll just show up there looking. See, if I had a reflective vest, I could do whatever I want. So, but I don't. But I'll say, I don't know. No one will even care. Most of the time, no one cares about people walking down the street. What's he doing? No, I don't care. So, anyways, yes. Next year we'll have to get something lined up there. DH Pilot 1. Yeah, leaves. Okay, not a big deal. Yeah, cool. So today's Wednesday. I'll be back on Friday because I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern, doing my reporting of some description. And yeah, so that's about it. And we'll shut her down. So thank you for watching. Bye.